What is art? By Leo Tolstoy. Chapter 19. People speak of the art of the future. By that they mean some especially refined new art, which is supposed to grow out of the art of one class of society, the art that is now counted the highest. But no such new art of the future can exist, and it will not exist. Our exclusive art, the art of the upper classes of the Christian world, has come to a dead end. Along the road it has been traveling, there is nowhere further to go. Once that art stepped away from the chief demand made on art, that it be guided by religious consciousness, it grew more and more exclusive, and therefore more and more perverted. And it came to nothing. The art of the future, the art that will really be, will not be a continuation of the art of today. It will rise on entirely different foundations, new ones, with nothing in common with the foundations that guide our present art of the upper classes. The art of the future, that is, the part of art which will be singled out from all the art current among people, will not consist in carrying feelings that only certain people of the rich classes can reach, as it does now. It will be only that art which gives effect to the highest religious consciousness of the people of our time. Only those works will be counted as art, which carry feelings that draw people towards brotherly union, or those common human feelings which are able to unite everyone. Only such art will be singled out, permitted, approved, and spread abroad. But there is art that carries feelings flowing from a religious teaching that is backward and outlived. The art of the church, the art of patriotism, the art of lust. There is art that carries the feeling of superstitious fear, of pride, of vanity, of rapture before heroes. There is art that stirs up an exclusive love for one's own people, or stirs up sensuality. All of that will be counted bad and harmful art, and public opinion will condemn it and despise it. And all the remaining art, the art that carries feelings which only certain people can reach, will be counted unimportant, and will be neither condemned nor approved. And the judge of art in general will no longer be a separate class of rich people, as it is now, but the whole people. So for a work to be recognized as good, to be approved and spread abroad, it will have to satisfy the demands not of a few people living in identical and often unnatural conditions, but the demands of all people, of the great masses of people who live in the natural conditions of labor. And the artists who produce art will also not be as they are now, only those rare few chosen out of a small part of the people, out of the rich classes or those near them. They will be all the gifted people from the whole nation, who prove capable of artistic work and drawn to it. Artistic work will then be within reach of everyone. It will come within reach of people from the whole nation for three reasons. First, because the art of the future will not demand that complicated technique which disfigures the works of art of our time and calls for great strain and a great waste of time. It will demand the opposite: clarity, simplicity, and brevity, and these are gained not by mechanical exercises but by the education of taste. Second, because instead of the present professional schools, which only some can enter, everyone will learn music and painting, that is, singing and drawing, in the elementary schools for the people, on the same footing as reading and writing, so that every person, having received the first grounding in painting and music, and feeling the ability and the calling for one or another of the arts, will be able to perfect himself in it. And third, because all the forces that are now squandered on false art will be turned to spreading true art among the whole people. People think that if there are no special art schools, the technique of art will grow weak. It will certainly grow weak if by technique we mean those complications of art which are now counted a merit. But if by technique we mean clarity, beauty, plainness, and compression in works of art, then technique will not grow weak at all, as all the art of the people shows. It will improve 100-fold, even if there are no professional schools, and even if the elements of drawing and music are never taught in the schools for the people. It will improve because all the artists of genius now hidden among the people will take part in art. They will not need, as artists need now, an elaborate technical training. They will have before them the models of true art, and they will give new models of real art, and those models will be, as they always have been, the best school of technique for artists. Every true artist, even now, learns not in a school, but in life, from the models left by the great masters. And when the most gifted people out of the whole nation take part in art, when there are more such models, and when those models are easier to come by, then the schooling the artist of the future goes without will be repaid 100 times over by the training he receives from the many models of good art spread through society. That will be one difference between the art of the future and the art of today. The other difference will be that the art of the future will not be produced by professional artists who take payment for their art and do nothing else besides. The art of the future will be produced by all the people of the nation who will take it up whenever they feel the need for such work. In our society, people think an artist will work better and produce more if he is provided for materially. That opinion would prove once again with full clarity, if there were still any need to prove it, that what we count as art among us is not art at all, but only the semblance of it. It is perfectly true that for the making of boots or loaves, the division of labor is very useful. The bootmaker or the baker who does not have to cook his own dinner and cut his own firewood will turn out more boots and more loaves than if he had to see to his dinner and his firewood himself. But art is not a craft. It is the carrying over of a feeling the artist has lived through. And feeling can be born in a person only when he lives every side of the natural life proper to human beings. That is why providing for the artist's material needs is the condition most ruinous to his productiveness. It frees him from the struggle with nature which all people share, the struggle to sustain his own life and the lives of others, and so it robs him of the occasion and the chance to live through the most important feelings, the feelings proper to human beings. There is no state more ruinous to an artist's productiveness than the state of complete security and luxury in which the artist in our society usually lives. The artist of the future will live the ordinary life of people, earning his bread by some kind of labor, and the fruits of that higher spiritual power which passes through him, he will strive to give to the greatest number of people, because his joy and his reward lie in that very act of carrying the feelings that have arisen in him to the greatest number. The artist of the future will not even understand how an artist, whose chief joy is the widest possible spread of his work, could hand over that work only for a set price. Until the traders are driven from the temple of art will not be a temple. The art of the future will drive them out, and so the content of the art of the future, as I picture it to myself, will be nothing like the content of art today. The content of the art of the future will not be the expression of exclusive feelings, vanity, weariness, satiety, and lust in every possible form, feelings within reach of and of interest to only those people who have freed themselves by force from the labor proper to human beings. It will be the expression of the feelings lived through by a person who lives the life proper to all people, feelings that flow from the religious consciousness of our time, or feelings within reach of every person without exception. To the people of our circle, who do not know and cannot or will not know the feelings that are to make up the content of the art of the future, such content seems very poor next to the subtleties of the exclusive art they are busy with now. They think, what new thing can be said in the sphere of the Christian feelings of love for one's neighbor? And the feelings within reach of everyone are so trifling, so much alike. Yet in our time, the only truly new feelings can be the religious feelings, the Christian feelings, and the feelings within reach of all. The feelings that flow from the religious consciousness of our time, the Christian feelings, are endlessly new and endlessly varied, but not in the sense some people suppose. It is not a matter of depicting Christ and scenes from the Gospels, or of repeating in some new form the Christian truths of union, brotherhood, equality, and love. It is that the oldest, most ordinary phenomena of life, the ones examined from every angle, call up the newest, the most unexpected, and the most moving feelings as soon as a person looks at them from the Christian point of view. What could be older than the bond between husband and wife, between parents and children, between children and parents, the relations of people to their countrymen and to foreigners, to attack, to defense, to property, to the land, to animals? Yet as soon as a person looks at these things from the Christian point of view, feelings arise at once that are endlessly varied, altogether new, deeply complex, and deeply moving. In the same way, the field of content does not narrow but widens for that part of the art of the future which carries the feelings of everyday life, the simplest feelings, the ones within reach of all. In the art we have had until now, only the expression of feelings belonging to people in some special position was thought worth carrying in art, and even then, only on condition that they were carried in the most refined manner, a manner beyond the reach of most people. And that whole enormous field of the art of the people and of children, the jokes, the proverbs, the riddles, the songs, the dances, the games of children, the mimicry, was not recognized as a subject worthy of art. The artist of the future will understand that to make up a little tale, a little song that will move people, a rhyme or a riddle that will entertain, a joke that will raise a laugh, To draw a small picture that will gladden tens of generations or millions of children and grown people is beyond comparison more important and more fruitful than to compose a novel or a symphony or paint a picture that will divert a few people of the rich classes for a short while and then be forgotten forever. The field of this art of simple feelings, feelings within reach of all, is enormous, and it is almost untouched. So the art of the future will not grow poorer. On the contrary, it will grow endlessly richer in content. And in the same way, the form of the art of the future will not stand lower than the form of art today. It will stand beyond all comparison higher, not in the sense of a refined and complicated technique, but in the sense of the power to carry over the feeling the artist has lived through and wants to pass on, and to carry it briefly, simply, clearly, with nothing superfluous in it. I remember once talking with a famous astronomer who gave public lectures on the spectral analysis of the stars of the Milky Way. I said to him how good it would be if he were to use his knowledge and his skill as a speaker to give a public lecture on cosmography, on nothing more than the most familiar motions of the Earth. For surely among the listeners at his lectures on the spectral analysis of the stars of the Milky Way, there are a great many people, women especially, who do not properly know why there is day and night, winter and summer. The clever astronomer smiled and answered me, "Yes, that would be a good thing, but it is very difficult. To lecture on the spectral analysis of the Milky Way is far easier. It is the same in art. To write a poem in verse set in the days of Cleopatra, or paint a picture of Nero burning Rome, or compose a symphony in the manner of Brahms and Richard Strauss, or an opera in the manner of Wagner, is far easier than to tell a simple story with nothing superfluous in it, and to tell it so that it carries the feeling of the one who tells it. It is easier than drawing a picture in pencil that will move the viewer or make him laugh. It is easier than writing 4 bars of a simple, clear melody with no accompaniment at all that will carry a mood and stay in the memory of the listener. It is impossible for us now, with our development, to go back to the primitive, say the artists of our time. It is impossible for us now to write such stories as the story of Joseph the Beautiful, or the Odyssey. Impossible to carve such statues as the Venus of Milo. Impossible to compose such music as the songs of the people. And indeed, for the artists of our time, it is impossible. But it is not impossible for the artist of the future, who will know nothing of the whole corruption of technical refinements that hide an absence of content, and who, not being a professional artist and taking no payment for his work, will produce art only when he feels an inner need for it that cannot be held back. So the art of the future will be entirely unlike what is now counted as art, in content and in form alike. The content of the art of the future will be only those feelings that draw people towards union, or those that unite them already. And the form of that art will be a form within reach of everyone. And so the ideal of perfection in the future will not be the exclusiveness of a feeling that only some can reach. It will be the opposite, the universality of that feeling, and not the bulk, the obscurity, and the complexity of the form, as is counted a merit now, but the opposite, brevity, clarity, and simplicity of expression. And only when art is like that will it stop amusing and corrupting people, as it does now, and stop demanding that they spend their best powers on it. Only then will it be what it ought to be, the instrument by which the religious Christian consciousness is carried over from the realm of reason and understanding into the realm of feeling, and by which people are brought nearer, in deed and in the life they actually live, to that perfection and that union which the religious consciousness sets before.